I hadn't planned to take the old roads. The trip up to Vermont was meant to be a quiet one, a solo weekend to clear my head, unplug, and, if I'm being honest, get away from the clutter of my thoughts. Work had been overwhelming. My relationship was circling the drain. My sleep, if you could call it that, had been haunted by a recurring dream, a song I couldn't place, and a figure standing in the doorway of a room I didn't recognize. So I left. No real plan. Just a few bags, a full tank of gas, and the idea of escape. The morning started normally. I left Boston under clear skies and followed my GPS toward Brattleboro. But after a few hours, construction rerouted me off the main highway. The new path wound deeper into the countryside, past skeletal forests and crumbling stone walls overgrown with moss. As the sun dipped lower, clouds rolled in like a tide. By the time the rain started, I was already well off the map. Thick droplets slapped against the windshield, and the road, if you could call it that, narrowed to a muddy trail framed by gnarled trees. My phone showed no service. That's when I heard it. Music. Soft, distant, and unmistakably real. A piano playing slowly, almost sorrowful. At first, I thought it was the radio flickering on, but the car was silent. I rolled down the window. The music floated in, clearer now, curling through the fog and rain like smoke. I should have turned around, but I didn't. Instead, I crept forward until the trees gave way to a clearing, and there it was, a house. Massive, Victorian, faded paint, a widow's walk on top, boarded windows, shingles missing from the roof. It might have been blue once, but now it looked gray in the storm light. The porch sagged forward like a jaw ready to break. But the music, it was louder here. It was coming from inside. I parked the car under the gnarled remains of a maple tree and stepped out. The air was colder than it should have been. The wind carried a scent of something sweet and rotten. I don't remember deciding to go inside. It felt like something decided for me. The porch steps groaned as I climbed them. A single swing hung from the rafters, swaying without wind. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob. It turned on its own, just a crack. From within, flickering candlelight painted moving shadows on the walls. I hesitated, then stepped over the threshold. The smell hit me immediately. Dust, mildew, and old perfume. It was like stepping into a forgotten memory. The entry hall was grand once, but time had gnawed at everything. A curved staircase arched up into darkness. An old mirror, cloudy and cracked, hung above a coat rack holding a single child-sized red raincoat. The music was coming from the left. I followed it. The parlor opened like a mouth. The air grew colder. Faint embers glowed in the fireplace. White sheets draped over furniture like shrouds. The piano sat in the far corner, and the keys moved. No one sat at the bench, but the music continued, slow and deliberate. I stood frozen, watching the ivory keys rise and fall. Then the music stopped. In the silence, a whisper brushed my ear. "You came back." My skin prickled. I spun around. No one. A draft brushed past me, stirring the sheet on the nearest chair. I told myself it was the wind, just old air currents in a decrepit house. Still, I backed out of the parlor slowly, gaze flicking to the piano as I left. The keys sat still now, silent, lifeless. I wandered deeper into the house, into a long hallway lined with closed doors. The wallpaper was once cream and floral, but now faded and curling. A large grandfather clock stood at the end, its pendulum still. It read 3. The second hand was missing. I tried the first door. A dining room, long mahogany table, 10 chairs, all carved with ornate floral patterns. The table was set as if for a formal dinner. Crystal goblets, tarnished silverware, plates with a thin film of dust. In the center, a silver candelabra stood tall. 5 candles, only one half melted. I stepped inside. That sweet decaying smell was stronger here. I leaned in close to one of the plates. Food, mummified. A slice of meat, gray and dry, peas like shriveled marbles. Someone had once eaten here, and not that long ago. A whisper reached my ear again, this time clearer. "Sit." I backed away. The candle in the center flared to life. I shut the door hard and moved down the hall. The next room was a study. Bookshelves sagged under the weight of forgotten tomes. An old globe cracked down the middle, a writing desk littered with pages. I sifted through them. Sheet music, all handwritten. The same melody repeated in different variations. Notes scribbled in the margins. "This one stops them. She remembers it better than I do. They hate silence." A phonograph sat on a nearby table. I wound it cautiously, unsure if it even worked. The needle scratched, then a voice played, faint and crackling. If you're hearing this, don't play the full piece. Not all at once, it opens something. Then static, then silence. I moved on. Upstairs, the hallway twisted in ways that didn't make sense. The rooms were wrong, too large, too deep. Some opened to bricked-off spaces, others to impossible sights. A hallway with mirrors on every wall. A bathroom where the tub filled with black water despite no pipes. A nursery where a mobile spun over a crib filled with ash. In the master bedroom, the bed was still made. A mirror stood in the corner. My reflection wavered, then steadied. Behind me, in the glass, someone else. She wore a black dress. Her hair hung limp and dark over one shoulder. Her face was mine. But not mine. I turned. Nothing there. When I looked back, the mirror was empty. Just me. Barely. I wandered for what felt like hours. The house seemed to breathe around me, exhaling cold air into every corridor. Doors I'd closed were open again. The piano occasionally played a single sharp note, like it was calling out. Eventually, I found a narrow staircase tucked behind a bookshelf. It led upward, into the attic. The air thickened. My breath came shorter. The wood creaked louder than before. With every step, the house groaned like it hated me. At the top, the attic opened like a lung. Dust swirled in the weak moonlight coming through a round window. Cobwebs clung to everything. There were boxes stacked high, and in the middle, a child's music box. Open. The melody, the same as the piano. I stepped forward, and something behind me said, "Finish the song." I turned so fast I nearly fell. The attic was empty, but the voice lingered in my ears like a fog I couldn't shake. I left the music box behind, retreating down the narrow staircase. My head throbbed. The melody from the box wouldn't leave me. It looped endlessly in my mind, too exact to be imagination, too foreign to be memory. I tried humming it aloud, and as I did, the hallway shifted, subtle but unmistakable. Where there had been 4 doors, now there were 5. I stared, heart hammering. I hadn't missed it. I knew I hadn't. The 5th door was black, matte, with a single brass knob. My hand moved without me wanting it to. I twisted the knob and stepped inside. The room was nearly bare, walls covered in faded music sheets, hundreds of them, pinned or nailed in overlapping layers. In the center, a bed with a threadbare quilt. A woman sat at the edge. She didn't look up. Long, dark hair veiled her face. Her hands rested on her lap, elegant, pale, unmoving. I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out. "I remember you," she said. Her voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper, but it echoed through the room like thunder. She raised her head. My breath caught in my throat. It was me, older, tired, bruised by time, the same eyes, same scar above the eyebrow from childhood. But her eyes were hollow. "I stayed too long," she said, "played too much." "What is this place?" I finally croaked. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "It's a house and a trap and a song no one should finish." I backed toward the door, but when I looked over my shoulder, the hallway was gone. Only more sheet music remained, sprawling endlessly into black. I woke up on the parlor floor. My head throbbed. My clothes were damp with sweat. The piano was silent. The fireplace burned low, though I hadn't lit it. Was it a dream? I stumbled up and went to the door. I flung it open and found another hallway. Not the porch. Not outside. Another hallway. Slightly different wallpaper. The scent of lavender now, not roses. I closed my eyes, counted to 5, and opened them again. Still there. I ran. Room after room blurred together. The study, the dining room, the child's nursery. But their positions had changed, like the house was reordering itself while I blinked. I found the same phonograph again, played the same message. The voice warned me again, "Don't finish the piece." But this time, there was more. "If you've heard this more than once, it's too late. You're part of the melody now." I collapsed to my knees. Somewhere above me, the piano began to play. I screamed. No one answered. Then I heard the front door creak. Hope surged in my chest. I raced back to the entry hall and found myself standing at the base of the staircase. Again, my name echoed down the hall, spoken not by one voice, but many. I turned. Dozens of portraits lined the walls, faces familiar and strange, all frozen in oil and canvas, and every pair of eyes followed me. My own face was among them, but in mine the eyes were gone. Only darkness remained. I staggered backward from the wall of portraits, heart thudding so hard it rattled my teeth. My breath came in short, shallow gasps. I couldn't stop staring at the painting. My painting. The brushstrokes were too perfect, too precise, capturing even the tiny scar above my left eyebrow. I raised a hand to my face. The skin there was cold. Another piano note rang out, followed by a slow, deliberate chord, then another. It wasn't just music anymore. It was summoning. I turned to run, but the hallway behind me had disappeared. In its place, the parlor again. The piano waited. This time, the bench was empty. I approached cautiously, my hands trembling. There was a mirror above the fireplace now, new, clean, reflecting the whole room. I saw myself there, but not just one version. The reflections multiplied, dozens of me, all standing at different points in the room, all wearing the same clothes, but changing. One version of me had blood dripping from her fingers. Another sat at the piano, head hung low, wrists raw. Another looked back at me with a smile that didn't belong to me. I couldn't look away. Behind me in the mirror, the room filled with others, shadowy silhouettes slowly forming around each version of me, and one by one they reached out. My real body couldn't move. I wanted to scream, to tear my eyes away from the glass, but my feet were rooted to the floor. Something inside me was being pulled, as though the reflections were absorbing pieces of me, memory by memory. Flashes sparked across my mind, my mother's laugh, the scent of my first apartment, the taste of birthday cake at 6 years old. Each vanished as the versions of me stared, unblinking. I collapsed to my knees. The mirror shattered, and I felt lighter, wrong, hollow. The house groaned around me, satisfied. The woman, the one who had looked like me, stood by the window again. "You're almost ready," she said. "Ready for what?" I whispered, voice raw. "To take your place." I crawled back, gasping. "I don't belong here." Her face softened, but her eyes were sad. Neither did I. I reached for the door. My hand passed through it like smoke. The music box began to play upstairs. I could hear it through the floorboards, each note dragging another breath out of me. Down the hall, something was coming, and in my chest, the song grew louder. I wanted to move, to fight, but the house had me now. Every breath felt thinner. My thoughts dulled. I couldn't even remember the exact color of my childhood bedroom anymore. My parents' faces blurred in my mind. I tried repeating my name, but even that sounded foreign. Something creaked upstairs. Footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. The door to the parlor opened. A gust of freezing air swept in, carrying the scent of lavender and soil. And she entered. The woman from the mirror. Or perhaps not a woman anymore, something else wearing my future like a costume. Her skin shimmered like candle wax. Her eyes were endless. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. She raised a hand, palm up, a question, an offering. Behind her, the piano played by itself, each note resonating in my bones. I tried to resist. My hands scraped across the floorboards as I pulled away, but I was sliding. As though the house tilted subtly, guiding me to her, to the piano. I was seated. My hands, though trembling, rose to the keys. "No," I said, or tried to. My voice failed me, but I played. A simple melody at first, one I had never learned, yet knew by heart. It flowed through me, the rhythm ancient and powerful. The house sighed. The woman leaned down, her lips at my ear. "Now you understand." And then she stepped back and faded, not vanished, not disappeared. She dissolved into the wallpaper, into the floor, into the sound, into me. The house changed around me. The mold receded, the air warmed, candles lit in every room. Outside, though I could not see it, I felt the storm clear. But inside me, the song continued. I played on. I didn't need to think anymore. The melody played itself. And somewhere within the walls, I heard the others, the previous ones, the lost, their notes adding to mine. I could feel them all. The house had always needed a keeper, one who remembered, one who played, one who kept the silence from returning. I was that now. No fear, no past, only music. The piano sang, and the house breathed with me. There is someone at the gate now. Their car just pulled up. I see them through the grime-streaked window. They hear the melody, as I once did. They are drawn to it. They don't yet know why they're coming inside. But I do. The house chooses. The song welcomes. And soon, I'll no longer have to play alone.